What if the next time you renew your license, it's not just a simple form, but a test that could decide whether you keep driving at all? Across the country, more older drivers are facing stricter renewals, vision checks, in-person requirements, and tougher road enforcement. And here's the part that should make every senior pay attention. One small mistake behind the wheel today can lead to much bigger consequences than it did just a few years ago. For millions of drivers over 65, 2026 could be the year the rules change faster than they expect. But this is where it gets even more unsettling. Most people are waiting for one big national announcement, one massive law, one obvious warning sign. That's not how it happened. The real danger is much quieter. New rules appear state by state. Enforcement gets tighter. Technology watches more closely. And suddenly, a driver who felt completely confident last year is now dealing with restrictions, retesting, or penalties they never saw coming. So the question is simple. Could these new driving rules affect you or someone you love? In this video, we're breaking down 10 major driving changes seniors 65 and older need to know right now, why these rules are appearing, and what you can do to stay safe, legal, and independent on the road. Number 1. In-person renewal is becoming a bigger deal. For many seniors, renewing a driver's license used to feel simple. You'd get a notice in the mail, fill out a few details, pay the fee, and move on with life. But now, that process is becoming a lot more serious. In many places, older drivers are being asked to renew in person instead of online or by mail. That means showing up at the DMV, waiting in line, answering questions, and in some cases going through extra checks that younger drivers may not face. What once felt like a quick routine task can now feel like a stressful appointment that carries much bigger meaning. And that is exactly why this matters so much. An in-person renewal is not just about paperwork. It creates a moment where everything is being looked at more closely. Your eyesight, your reaction, the way you answer questions, even how confident or confused you seem during the process can suddenly matter. For many seniors, that can be nerve-wracking. Imagine walking into what you think is a normal renewal visit, only to find out you may need additional testing or more steps before getting approved. That uncertainty alone is enough to make this one of the biggest changes older drivers need to take seriously. The reason behind this shift is simple. Officials want to make sure drivers are still safe on the road. As people age, changes in vision, hearing, memory, and reaction time can happen slowly, sometimes so slowly that the driver may not even notice them at first. That does not mean every senior is unsafe, not at all. In fact, many older adults are careful, experienced drivers. But these in-person renewals are becoming a bigger deal because states want a closer look, and for seniors, that means renewal day is no longer something to take lightly. Number 2. Vision screening can make or break your renewal. One of the biggest reasons seniors need to pay close attention in 2026 is because vision screening is becoming more important than ever. And this is not just about reading small letters on a chart. Safe driving depends on being able to clearly see road signs, traffic lights, pedestrians, lane markings, and cars moving around you from every direction. As people get older, vision can change in quiet ways that are easy to ignore at first. Night driving may start to feel harder. Bright headlights may seem more blinding. Reading signs from a distance may take a little longer. These changes can happen so gradually that many drivers do not even realize how much their eyesight has shifted until they are sitting in front of a vision test. That is why this rule matters so much. For many seniors, a vision screening is not just one small step in the renewal process. It can become the main test that decides what happens next. If your vision does not meet the required standard, you may be asked to get corrective lenses, submit more medical information, or even complete additional driving evaluations. That can come as a real shock, especially for someone who feels perfectly confident behind the wheel. But confidence and clear eyesight are not always the same thing. A driver may feel comfortable simply because they know the roads they use every day, while still missing important details in fast-moving traffic. The real reason states are focusing more on vision is simple. Eyesight is one of the most important parts of driving safely. You can have years of experience, good judgment, and careful habits, but if you cannot clearly see what is happening around you, the risk rises quickly. That does not mean seniors should panic. It means they should prepare. Getting regular eye exams, updating glasses, avoiding difficult night driving, and being honest about vision changes can make a huge difference. For older drivers, this is no longer something to brush aside, because one vision test can now decide far more than people expect. Number 3. shorter renewal cycles can catch you off guard. Another change that many seniors do not see coming is shorter renewal cycles. When people are younger, they often get used to renewing their license after a long period of time, so it becomes something they barely think about. But once you reach a certain age, that timeline can suddenly become shorter depending on where you live. And that may not sound like a big deal at first, but it can create real problems very quickly. A shorter renewal cycle means more deadlines, more paperwork, more appointments, and more chances for something to slip through the cracks. For seniors who are busy with family, health appointments, or daily responsibilities, it becomes much easier to miss an important date without realizing it. What makes this even more stressful is that many older drivers continue thinking the system works the same way it did years ago. They assume they still have plenty of time. They assume the reminder will come early enough. They assume one missed letter in the mail will not matter. But when the renewal period becomes shorter, that margin for error gets smaller. Suddenly, what felt like a routine part of life turns into something that needs regular attention. And if a renewal is missed, the consequences can be serious. A person may end up driving with an expired license, facing fines, delays, or extra steps just to get back on the road. For someone who depends on driving for groceries, doctor visits, or staying independent, that can be a major disruption. The reason behind shorter renewal cycles is simple. States want to check in more often as drivers get older. They want more regular updates on vision, health, and driving ability. It is not meant to punish seniors, but it does mean older drivers have less room to forget, delay, or assume everything is fine. That is why this change matters so much. For seniors, staying legal on the road is no longer just about driving safely. It is also about staying ahead of the calendar, because one missed renewal date can create problems far bigger than most people expect. Number 4. Driving ability reviews can be triggered even without a new senior law. One thing that surprises many older drivers is this: you do not always need a brand new senior driving law for problems to begin. In many cases, a driving review can be triggered quietly, without much warning, and without any dramatic announcement on the news. It may start after an accident, a traffic violation, a medical concern, or even a report from someone who believes the driver may no longer be fully safe on the road. That is what makes this so unsettling. A senior may think, "There's no new law in my state, so I have nothing to worry about." But the truth is, a person's driving ability can still come under review if concerns begin to build around their safety, awareness, or reaction behind the wheel. And for many seniors, that review process can feel deeply stressful. It is not just about whether you can still drive from one place to another. It becomes a question of whether officials believe you can still drive safely, consistently, and responsibly. That can lead to extra forms, medical documents, vision checks, retesting, or even restrictions. For someone who has driven for decades, that experience can feel personal and even humiliating. But this is exactly why it matters to talk about it now. These reviews often do not come out of nowhere. They usually happen after warning signs have already appeared, like confusion at intersections, delayed reactions, close calls, drifting between lanes, or difficulty handling busy traffic. The reason this matters so much in 2026 is because safety concerns are being taken more seriously than ever. States are paying closer attention to driving ability, not just age. That means experience alone may no longer protect someone if their skills are beginning to change. And that is why seniors need to be honest with themselves before someone else steps in. If driving has started to feel harder, more tiring, or more confusing, it is far better to notice it early and make smart adjustments. Because once a formal review begins, the process can move quickly, and the outcome may affect far more than just a driver's license. If this video opened your eyes, drop a comment below with just 2 words, "Still driving," and tell us your age and state, because we truly want to know who's watching and what rules are changing where you live. We put a lot of heart and hard work into making these videos for you, so please subscribe to the channel. It's just one click for you, but it means everything to us. Number 5. Restricted licenses are more common than people realize. Many seniors think the only 2 outcomes are simple. Either you keep your license or you lose it completely. But in reality, there is a middle ground that more older drivers are starting to face, and that is a restricted license. This means a person may still be allowed to drive, but only under certain conditions. For example, they may be told to drive only during the daytime, avoid highways, stay within a certain area, or use special mirrors or corrective lenses. On the surface, that may sound like a fair compromise, but for many seniors, it can feel like a quiet but powerful loss of freedom. A driver who once went anywhere at any time may suddenly find that their independence now comes with limits. What makes this especially difficult is how these restrictions affect everyday life. Imagine being able to drive to the grocery store in the afternoon, but not being allowed to drive at night for a family dinner. Imagine being told you can drive locally, but not take the highway to visit your doctor, your children, or old friends in another town. These may seem like small changes to someone else, but for seniors, they can completely reshape daily routines. And emotionally, it can be hard to accept. Many older adults feel frustrated because they still see themselves as capable drivers, yet the rules are now telling them to slow down, scale back, and stay within safer limits. The reason restricted licenses are becoming more common is because officials are trying to balance safety and independence at the same time. Instead of removing driving privileges completely, they may choose to limit risk by setting conditions around when and how a person can drive. In some cases, that can actually help seniors stay on the road longer. But it also sends a clear message. The system is paying closer attention to ability, not just age. That is why seniors should not ignore small warning signs in their own driving. Because once restrictions are placed on a license, they can change daily life in ways many people never expect until it happens to them. Number 6. Move-over laws are expanding. One of the most overlooked changes on the road today is the expansion of move-over laws. And this is something seniors should take very seriously. Many drivers grew up thinking these laws only applied when they saw a police car with flashing lights on the side of the road. But now, in many places, the rule is broader and more demanding. Drivers may be expected to move over or slow down for emergency vehicles, tow trucks, highway workers, maintenance vehicles, and even other stopped vehicles using warning lights or hazard signals. That may not sound dramatic at first, but in real driving situations, it can become very stressful very fast. A senior driver may only have a few seconds to notice what is ahead, check nearby traffic, decide whether it is safe to change lanes, and react correctly without panicking. That is exactly why this rule matters so much. Move-over situations often happen on busy roads where traffic is already moving fast, and the pressure in that moment can be intense. Imagine driving on a highway, seeing flashing lights up ahead, cars rushing past you, and having to decide in seconds whether to change lanes or slow down safely. For older drivers, especially those who no longer feel as confident in heavy traffic, this can be one of the most difficult situations on the road. And if the wrong choice is made, the consequences can be serious. It could lead to a ticket, a dangerous close call, or even a crash involving someone standing or working on the roadside. The reason these laws are expanding is simple. Roadside workers and emergency responders are in real danger every day, and states want to give them more protection. But for seniors, this means one more area of driving where older habits may no longer be enough. It is not enough to just be careful anymore. Drivers must know exactly what the law expects them to do in these situations. That is why seniors should review their state's move-over rules now, before they are forced to make a split-second choice under pressure. Number 7. Automated traffic enforcement is expanding. Another major change seniors need to watch closely is the rise of automated traffic enforcement. In the past, many drivers believed a ticket only came if a police officer actually saw the mistake and pulled them over. But that world is changing. More cities and states are using cameras, sensors, and automated systems to monitor speeding, red light violations, bus lanes, school zones, and other traffic behavior. That means a driver can make one quick mistake, keep going as if nothing happened, and then days later, a notice shows up in the mail. For many seniors, that can feel shocking because it removes the old sense that a warning or a conversation with an officer might come first. Now, technology may be watching even when no one appears to be there. What makes this even more important for older drivers is that many seniors built their driving habits in a very different era. They learned to rely on judgment, experience, and what they could see around them in the moment. But automated enforcement changes that completely. A slightly late stop at a red light, rolling a turn too fast, Missing a speed change near a school zone or drifting into a restricted lane can now lead to penalties without any direct human interaction. And for seniors who may already feel less comfortable with fast-changing road rules or unfamiliar traffic systems, this can create a real sense of anxiety. It is no longer just about driving safely in your own eyes. It is also about driving in a way that matches what cameras and systems are programmed to detect. The reason this trend is growing is simple. Officials believe automated enforcement can improve safety and catch violations more consistently. But for seniors, it means there is less room for old habits, assumptions, or small lapses in attention. Every sign, every stop, and every speed change matters more than ever. That is why older drivers should start thinking now in a more careful and updated way. Because in today's driving world, technology may notice mistakes long before a person ever does. Number 8. Hands-free phone rules are not optional anymore. One of the biggest mistakes many drivers still make is thinking phone laws are only a problem for younger people. But that is no longer true. Hands-free driving rules are becoming much stricter, and seniors need to take this seriously. Many older drivers still answer a quick call by picking up the phone, glance down to check directions, or tap the screen at a red light without thinking it is a major issue. But today, even those small actions can lead to tickets, penalties, and dangerous distractions. The road has become far more demanding, and even a few seconds of looking away can be enough to miss a stop sign, fail to notice a pedestrian, or react too slowly to sudden traffic changes. What makes this especially important for seniors is that modern driving is already full of distractions. Cars now come with touchscreens, navigation systems, alerts, Bluetooth settings, incoming calls, and constant digital noise. For someone who learned to drive decades ago, this kind of environment can feel overwhelming. And when that pressure builds, many people do what feels natural. They grab the phone to fix the problem quickly. But that quick moment of reaching, tapping, or looking down can completely break focus. A driver may think, it was only for a second, but on a busy road, 1 second can change everything. That is why hands-free rules matter so much now. They are not just about obeying the law. They are about protecting attention at the exact moment attention matters most. The reason these laws are being enforced more strongly is simple. Distracted driving has become one of the biggest safety concerns on the road. Officials know that phones pull a driver's eyes, hands, and mind away from driving, sometimes all at once. And for seniors whose reaction time may already be a little slower than it once was, that extra distraction can be even more risky. That is why older drivers should treat this as a serious warning. Set your route before you leave, keep your phone out of your hand, and remember this. In today's world, one small glance at a screen can lead to one very big mistake. Number 9. Dangerous driving crackdowns are getting tougher. Even seniors who have never thought of themselves as reckless drivers need to pay attention to this next change. Across the country, officials are getting tougher on dangerous driving behaviors, and the penalties can be more serious than many people expect. This does not only mean extreme speeding or aggressive street racing. It also includes tailgating, unsafe lane changes, failing to yield, blowing through stop signs, or making risky decisions in heavy traffic. What used to be brushed off by some drivers as a small mistake is now being treated much more seriously. And for older drivers, that matters because even one stressful moment on the road can now carry bigger legal and financial consequences than it did in the past. What makes this more concerning is that dangerous driving does not always look dramatic when you are the one behind the wheel. A senior may not feel like they are driving aggressively at all. They may simply be trying to keep up with traffic, make a fast left turn before cars pile up behind them, or change lanes quickly because they almost missed an exit. But in that moment, what feels like a practical decision can still be seen as unsafe behavior. And once enforcement becomes stricter, there is less room for judgment calls, excuses, or old habits. One rushed move in a busy area can lead to a ticket, points on a license, higher insurance costs, or even a review of driving ability if the pattern continues. The reason this crackdown is growing is simple. States want to reduce crashes, injuries, and deadly mistakes before they happen. Roads are busier, traffic is faster, and one bad decision can create a chain reaction in seconds. For seniors, this means the standard is changing. It is no longer enough to think, "I've always driven this way and I've been fine. What worked 20 years ago may not work safely today." That is why older drivers need to become even more patient, even more alert, and even more careful with every move they make. Because the road is becoming less forgiving, and the consequences are becoming much harder to ignore. Number 10. Seniors are expected to keep up with new road rules and new vehicle technology. This may be the most surprising change of all, because it does not always appear as one clear law written in bold letters. Instead, it shows up quietly in everyday driving. Seniors are now expected to keep up with new road rules, new traffic patterns, and new vehicle technology that did not exist when many of them first learned to drive. Roundabouts are more common. Digital road signs are changing how information is shown. Cars now come with touchscreens, backup cameras, blind spot warnings, lane alerts, and automatic braking systems. On paper, these features are meant to make driving safer. But for many older adults, they can also create confusion, distraction, and a feeling that the road has become far more complicated than it used to be. What makes this especially important is that experience alone is no longer enough if the driving world around you has changed. A senior may have decades of driving experience and still feel thrown off by a car that beeps unexpectedly, flashes warnings, or shifts attention to a screen in the middle of traffic. The same is true on the road itself. New intersection layouts, changing lane designs, and updated right-of-way expectations can all create hesitation in moments where quick decisions matter. And that hesitation can become dangerous. The truth is, many older drivers are not unsafe because they are careless. They are unsafe because the rules, systems, and technology around them have changed faster than they were prepared for. That is exactly why seniors need to take this seriously in 2026. The modern driving world rewards people who stay updated, practice new skills, and learn how today's roads actually work. It is not enough to rely only on what worked 30 or 40 years ago. Drivers need to understand their car, recognize new traffic situations, and stay comfortable with changes before those changes catch them off guard. For older adults, this is not about fear. It is about protecting independence for as long as possible. Because in today's world, the drivers who stay safe are not just the most experienced ones. They are the ones who keep learning. So what does all of this really mean for seniors in 2026? It means driving is no longer just about knowing how to steer, brake, and follow basic signs. It is about keeping up with a road system that is becoming stricter, faster, and far less forgiving. From in-person renewals and vision screenings to restricted licenses, move-over laws, automated enforcement, hands-free rules, and tougher crackdowns on risky behavior, the message is becoming clear. Older drivers are being watched more closely, and the rules are changing in ways many people do not fully realize. And that is exactly why so many seniors can get caught off guard. Not because they are bad drivers, but because the driving world around them is changing quietly, piece by piece, until one day it feels completely different from the road they once knew. But here is the good news. Getting older does not automatically mean giving up the keys. In fact, many seniors remain some of the most careful, responsible, and experienced drivers on the road. The real key is staying honest, staying alert, and staying updated. That means checking your renewal rules early, taking vision changes seriously, learning the laws in your state, and being willing to adjust habits before problems begin. Small steps like avoiding night driving, putting the phone away, or refreshing your knowledge of road rules can make a huge difference. These are not signs of weakness. They are signs of wisdom, and they can help protect something that matters deeply to so many older adults: freedom, confidence, and independence. So if you are 65 or older, or you have a parent or loved one in that age group, now is the time to pay attention. Do not wait for a failed renewal, a warning letter, or a frightening moment in traffic to wake you up. Stay informed, stay prepared, and stay safe. And if this video helped you, be sure to like, subscribe, and comment below with your age and state, because the more we share, the more we help each other stay confidently on the road.